When I tell people that I work as a postdoc, they have no idea what I actually do and what the job is about. So in this video, I'm going to explain what a postdoc is and whether you should consider pursuing a role as a postdoc. If you're new here in my channel, welcome. I am Maria, and I just finished a few months ago my PhD in applied mathematics from the University of Cambridge, and right now I am working as a postdoc at the University of Georgia in the United States. So I am just getting started in my postdoc job. It's been a little bit less than 4 months, but I think that gives me a good enough idea of how the job is supposed to be and what is its role. And of course, I'm going to explain my motivations for applying for a postdoc, which is something I did while I was finishing my PhD. I decided that I wanted to be a postdoc. So I've explained in other videos that kind of my career plan, at least the A version of my career plan, is to stay in academia. Long term, I want to keep doing research, perhaps be a professor at a university teaching. And for that, 99% of the situations you need a PhD, which is the thing that I had just done before. But the step after doing a PhD, nowadays it's almost impossible to become a professor after that, unless you only want to teach at universities. But if you want to do research, you need to gain more experience before becoming an assistant professor or a lecturer in the UK system. I'm going to refer mostly to the American system, which is the one I'm working on, and the British system, which is the one that I came from. But I think that postdoc roles exist also in Europe and possibly elsewhere. So the goal of a postdoc is to bridge the gap between PhD level and first job as a professor. So your first job as a professor, you will be doing some teaching and you will be starting your own research group in most cases. So between that, you need more experience doing research, perhaps trying a slightly different techniques or a different field. Not exactly a big change of topic or of area those happens, but in my case, I'm still doing infectious disease modeling, which is what I did for my PhD, and I loved it. But I am doing it in a slightly different version. The School of Ecology, and the approach of my lab is slightly more applied, in the sense it's more computational than what I was doing for my PhD in applied mathematics, and it's slightly more data driven than the theoretical things that I was doing before. And also just I'm getting exposed to a different research system, which is the American one, different ways that people work in the labs. Because I'm in an interdisciplinary field, I think it's also good for me that I'm getting exposed to people who are working on my field but who have different backgrounds, perhaps more biological or computational rather than my mathematical background. So that's definitely been super formative, and I think that's in general for the postdocs. Even if you still say you did your PhD in math like I did, and then you stayed to also do another postdoc in a mathematics department, but that will likely be in a different university, perhaps in a different country with a different supervisor. So you will be exposed to different, not just different ideas, but different ways of working. And I think that will also build up your mind about the kind of research group that you will want to have in the future, how your own research style will grow and get influence from the different mentors that you're having. And honestly, it will just give you more experience doing research and give you more papers, and you will become more recognized in the field, and that will get you ready to apply for positions as an assistant professor. At least that's kind of my plan. Of course, there's a lot of things that go into that, building your resume and everything, that it's not just purely from doing a postdoc. But that's the definition of the postdoc position. It's like it's meant to be only for a few years. I'll say, like, between 2 and 5 years. Some people do 2 postdocs in different universities and until they get another role, or they might also switch to industry. I think that's perfectly valid. Like, I definitely enjoy the work that I do as a postdoc because I'm very lucky that my role is like 100% research, although I miss teaching. But I think this YouTube channel is actually my way of doing some outreach and kind of teaching others, even if it's not technical content. But for my job, it's purely research. So I definitely don't have to take any classes. Like, a lot of people here, when I tell them I'm a postdoc, they think like, oh, like, how's the semester going? And it's like, well, I'm not taking classes. I'm not teaching. They also ask me, like, what are you studying? As if I was a student. And like, I think of myself as a student for life, and I think that's very helpful for everyone, but especially in academia, that's kind of true because you're always learning. But I'm not a student in the strict sense, like, it's a real job. And I used to say this of being a PhD student, but when you're a PhD student, there's some caveats, like you're still a student, you're getting paid, but in a way you're doing a degree, and there's some technicalities in the way you get paid and everything involved in that. But as a postdoc, like, I'm an employee of the University of Georgia. I get benefits like a pension plan, and because I'm in the US, I get healthcare from them, and all the normal, like, job stuff. So it's definitely a job. It's one that I am enjoying, and it's you are supposed to be productive and write papers and do research for the supervisor that you work with. I think that depends slightly on, like, the type of postdoc that you're doing, but for my postdoc, I just I have to do things for my supervisor. And let me know in the comments if you want me to explain in another video how I applied for the postdoc, how I found it, like the different type of postdoc positions that there are. But for me so far, this has been great, and it's probably not a job that I will do forever, but it's great. And I think if you are doing a PhD and you're enjoying it, like, it's similar to what I said in my video about should you do a PhD or not. Well, if you're not sure, like, but you think you will enjoy doing a postdoc, you can do a postdoc even if you are not sure that you want long term to stay in academia, because that will also be experience that will be valued in industry. Although postdocs do earn more than PhD students, that's for sure, but maybe not as much as you might earn in industry, depending on what's your field. So you definitely need to enjoy it, but I do. So I hope this was informative. Thank you so much to all of you who have joined recently. Like, we've seen, like, the number of subscribers has been growing a lot recently, even almost 200 as I'm recording right now. So thank you so much. It keeps me so motivated to keep recording videos. So please, give it a like, or let me know in the comments what you like about the channel, what you would like to see next. And thank you for your support.